every amount of pain there.
Something big, like a Star Wars or a Marvel.
Wouldn't have been good, but would have been like, okay.
No!
You are at the movies with Ace,
Martin, and
JVH!
our first guest in the history of At the Movies with Ace and Martin, and of course, it is Mr. Johnny Von Hollywood. He is the master producer of various projects. He is the owner of Shockwave Studios, the CEO of Shockwave Sports, Shock Wrestling.
The most violent, the most diabolical, the most dangerous, a beast slayer, a conqueror's conqueror, the goat of all goats.
He is, the Scary Box is still there too, and many other things. You can catch him on the Johnny Von Hollywood channel every day in June. He is doing JVH June, the Mad Lad, a video every freaking day.
Cinemasker used to do Monster Madness, which is kind of what ignited my love for horror movies, was seeing a new horror movie talked about every month. And then the less popular and good Doug Walker did the Disney-cember. What are you covering every day for an entire month, JVH?
Random shit. I think me and Owen are going to talk about, like, World Cup jerseys one of the days, so that should be fun. But, I don't know. Ace is begging me to be on JVH June this year, and I haven't decided what video it is. But you guys invited me to talk about Spider-Man.
Yes, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. To have a little summer movie marathon, we're going to be going through the live-action Spider-Man movies in the build-up to Spider-Man Brand New Day, coming at you at the end of July. But we're starting with the OG, a movie we all grew up on, so I kind of want to hear from both of you guys. Maybe not Nate, I forgot. Yeah, to kind of kick things off, what is your connection with this movie, Nate?
I saw the Spider-Man after I saw Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and I became a Sam Raimi fan before I was a Spider-Man fan, which I know is like way ass backwards, but the first Spider-Man movie I ever saw was The Amazing Spider-Man, which we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks. I love these movies. They're great, but it wasn't my childhood. I was kind of more into Superman and Batman, the Spider-Man and stuff like that. That even came after X-Men for me. I think I saw the X-Men original trilogy before I saw a single Spider-Man movie. And I knew how popular they were, and I knew I'd like them. It's just like, it was in a weird threshold where it wasn't on Netflix when I first started getting to choose what I watched for myself. For licensing reasons, I wasn't able to watch Spider-Man movies as early as I was other franchises.
JVH, John Perolsky, I wonder if you like Spider-Man.
Listen, I have a big connection to Spider-Man. Of course, I loved the Sam Raimi movies growing up. I had a really kick-ass Spider-Man costume from the original trilogy, and that love of Spider-Man continued throughout my life, especially when my cousin Maddie was like, that's my favorite superhero, falling in love with the Andrew Garfield version, which I know I'm a hypocrite. I'm technically wearing the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume here tonight. As you can see from the chest. But I love the Sam Raimi movies. Those are the ones that I grew up with. Those are the ones that absolutely made me fall in love with the character. And of course, we grew up in the time period where they were making some kick-ass toys. So we got silly string in a can on my wrist. That's all I needed. And I was satisfied. I love Spider-Man. Of course, Maddie's Fight Foundation. There's a lot of connection to Maddie's favorite superhero being Spider-Man, and so Spider-Man's always appearing in Shock Wrestling or whatever the hell else we do.
This movie in particularly, was such a gateway for probably anyone our age to get into the superhero genre for most. Yeah, at the time, you had X-Men in 2000, and then you had this one. It's post-Batman and Robin, where superhero movies kind of got cheesy again. What's going on with the subgenre? We got Blade. It got really dark, and so you morph that into this, where it is kind of a blend of both, and to have somebody like Sam Raimi come in, a guy that grew up reading comic books, knew this character, it was kind of the first time where you had somebody that not only respected the source material, but felt like a huge responsibility to adapt it. It wasn't like, oh, this is a big blockbuster movie that'll make money, let me make a Super Mario Brothers movie. This one was kind of the first of the kind of, that film brat student making a superhero movie, essentially.
Yeah, I think one thing that really rings true with how successful this movie is, and you talk about Sam Raimi being the choice for that, at the end of the day, there were definitely like talks for like a decade or longer leading up to this movie of who was going to do it. And there's all these talks of it, like James Cameron was attached at one point.
Michael Jackson.
Michael wanted to play him.
You know, thank goodness it was someone like Sam Raimi, because like him being self-taught as a filmmaker, I think really makes this special. You know, he didn't necessarily have the Roger Corman film school background or the like, I'm going to go to USC or UCLA and produce films like that. He just made independent stuff and it kept growing and growing and growing. And he did that in tandem with like the Coen brothers. So he kind of always had this like soft, like, yeah, your checks are gonna clear. Like there was cachet to the name, but he did a whole beta test for this movie like a decade before. I fucking love Darkman, so shout out to that film if you haven't seen this, because he did this movie 10 years before with Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand, and it's a masterpiece. It's not anywhere near as good, but it has the same tone of these movies. So if you haven't seen that, I'm just throwing that recommendation in there early, because there's no one else in Hollywood at the time that I think could have done Spider-Man well. Like a Spielberg or even a James Cameron, as much as I love him, this would be a whole different movie.
Yeah. You could tell it was made by somebody who's used to shooting on real locations and in real houses, because every location feels alive. I can't get over something as simple as Uncle Ben and Aunt May's house, of how we all, I'm sure, could picture that. It's like a grandparent's house or an elderly person's house. Like, he just does a really good job at stuff like that, and we'll get into that. But what are your guys' thoughts on kind of the casting? I guess the big three, let's say Tobey, Willem, and Kristen Dunst.
Oh, I thought you meant Rosemary Harris.
I thought we were talking about Franco already.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I feel like he's not in the big three till 2. This is Willem Dafoe's fucking movie.
Well, due to the fact that, of course, I'm sure all three of us have seen this movie a lot of times at this point in our life, but me and Ace just rewatched it before this recording, and there is a lack of Franco in the movie for how much I remember him in 2 and 3.
Yeah, the first few scenes, as well paced as the beginning of this movie is, just seeing Tobey Maguire with big nerdy glasses and walking around a high school, it's ridiculous. It's like Grease levels of this guy's way too fucking old to believably be a high schooler.
It's a good comparison.
And everyone, I mean, look, at least they were smart and they made everyone in the high school look way too old. But when they're going on the field trip in Colombia, their professor looks like the same as James Franco. Everybody looks like 10 years miscast. And like, I guess it's consistent and it works because like the tone of this movie is so silly, but it's also like, you could have either gone a little younger with the casting or just not had them go to high school at all, especially since they get out of it really quick. There's the time jump when Uncle Ben dies.
They could kick off the movie with them graduating and Peter gets bitten during a summer trip. Like, you didn't really have to do the whole high school thing, I feel. But we're in a weird age now where we have seen Bruce Wayne's origin a million times. We have seen Peter Parker's origin a million times.
Get the F out of the way!
It is hard to, go back and think like, oh, they got to do the beats here though. This truly is the first one we're adapting here. It's cool. I think most have good chemistry. I don't want to turn this into an MJ bashing, but she is kind of the soft spot here throughout the entire trilogy. I think the first one is her best one, so I think I am more on the positive route.
I disagree, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think 3 is her worst one? And it's not even her fault. The character is awful in 3.
I don't think 3's her worst one, though. I think 2, she's written, that girl is a bitch in 2. I'm sorry. I don't know how else
at least in this one, it's like, oh, she's in high school. Like, you could kind of like, get away with her being immature.
This is the first episode, but she leaves John Jameson at the altar. I'm sorry.
I have a lot of bones to pick.
But I do think Tobey Maguire is great. What's nice hearing that there are some of the younger generation who do really think Tobey Maguire is a good Peter Parker. Of course, that's always going to be a debate on who's a really good Peter Parker and everything like that. But, you know, watching it, there's that campiness to it that I love, and he fits that version of Peter very well. I really enjoyed that style of Peter.
Is he a little incel-y? He's
Yes,
very...
Peter? Yeah.
Yeah. In this
When he gets the
adaptation,
powers, it comes out of him.
it's like...
Big change.
The only scenes where I think he really, really works, in my opinion, are like when he's alone. He sucks ass in any scene where he's sharing dialogue with another character or reacting to something. I mean, his performance is like kind of bad, but like it works in the tone of this movie since it is so like comic booky and slapsticky at times. And then, like, when it's intense, he's a very intense actor. He's always good at giving intensity. Yeah. But, like, the moments where he's just, like, talking to Mary Jane by the trash cans in the backyard. Horrible performance. When he's just sitting there reacting to Uncle Ben telling him that with great power comes great responsibility. His reaction, horrible. Like, the moments that he gets intense are great. The moments where he's playing around with his new powers, he's great. There's about 60% of this runtime where I'm like... kind of is a really bad actor, or at least the performance doesn't feel like Spider-Man to me, or Peter Parker for that matter. He feels like he's playing some weird like take on a lonely teenage man child.
To your point, Nate, too, you can even look at the video games where it is him acting in the movie video games.
Yeah.
And of course, most of this movie, the characters are ADR'd when they're behind the mask. And I think Toby's performance in the game is awful. But behind the mask, like you're saying, Nate, when him and Goblin have their little meeting and they're both masked, I'm like, wow, Toby's doing great, but I don't even think it's him sitting there in the costume. It's just his voice.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Willem Dafoe, I mean, what can you say? That's why he's the GOAT. He turned this silly little Power Rangers outfit into a role so iconic, they brought him back freaking 20 years later. That's how good this was. He made it work then, and he made it work in the 2020s. The guy is an unstoppable force of acting kino. I can't praise him enough in this movie. I think you can't take his eyes off him in this movie.
Yeah, this movie doesn't work with anyone else in that role as Green Goblin, like, at all. And especially, like, where he was coming at, like, career-wise at that point. You know, he'd been playing villains in movies for quite a while, and they were getting more and more eccentric and charismatic in ways. And this one really lets him have almost like the Bruce Wayne, like, he's great as Norman Osborn, but he's even better as the Green Goblin. Like, when he's intense, that mirror scene is pure Shakespeare. Yeah. He's doing both reactions so well. I literally can't think of another actor that would play this version of that character anywhere near as well. So good.
Is Norman Osborn a good dad?
No.
Absolutely
I
kind of want to argue.
Before... Okay,
I didn't know we were starting this early.
I mean, it's in the beginning of the movie. We see the intro of Norman on this school trip. I think, like, he seems fine with Harry. He wants Harry to succeed. I don't remember it being as, like, negative as when you think as a kid. Like, I don't know. It doesn't come off to me that Norman just hates Harry. He's really impressed with Peter. The guy can't help but glaze. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Our introduction to Harry and Norman are them in a Rolls Royce, and Harry turns to his dad and goes, I just don't want to go to a public school field trip in a Rolls. And Norman responds, whoa, what do you want me to do? Trade in my car for a Jetta? And I thought that was so freaking funny.
He says that Harry's been kicked out of multiple schools. Like, he's trying with Harry. He tried to give him the best education, and Harry's just not, he's a bad kid. They're like months away from graduating, and like Harry's still like going through this. Like, bro, grow up. You're 30 years old.
After they graduate, he's kind of being mean to Harry, but he bought
him a whole apartment in Midtown.
I like James Franco's acting while he's glazing Peter at their graduation. How James Franco, he's like really putting the facial performance in where he's like, You could tell that the hatred of Spider-Man starting even at the beginning.
I don't think he's a good father at all because I don't think he understands what his son wants or needs in any scene of this movie. It's very, very clear to me that Harry is stunted by the fact that his dad is arms dealing millionaire?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like
Tony
his whole
Stark,
corporation is only like inflated by how much money the government's giving it. But he is a founding member of this giant entity, so it's safe to say his net worth is pretty disgustingly wealthy, judging by the apartment that he has. That is insane. It honestly rivals the Wayne Manor in The Batman.
Yeah.
But it's weird because he doesn't understand his child at all, where Harry is clearly an outcast at his public high school. He's been kicked out of a bunch of other schools. The only friend he has is like the other kid that everyone else picks on, who's also like 30 years old and keeps not making the bus on time somehow. You know, so
that is all Peter's fault.
Harry's weird at the same time because it seems like he's just dating MJ for the love of the game. It is feel like just clout chasing, trying to impress my father and my social circle. Yeah.
It's in that same scene. After graduation, his dad is like, I love you, Peter. You're like a son to me. And then he turns around and Deathstroke is like, I'm starting a league of my own, and breaks up with MJ. And then he goes immediately towards MJ. And then doesn't tell Peter. Are we getting into the movie? Because 5 minutes later, Peter and MJ are all like, oh, I didn't know you guys were dating. And MJ's like, I didn't know you didn't know we were dating.
And they were roommates. Eventually, he was going to find out. I don't know how Harry was going to keep that secret.
They all bust into his room whenever they want.
Harry's kind of a scumbag for that because he knows that Peter likes her, but also the whole situation is so forced and messy, and it's also like it's weird because like, does the movie work without those scenes? Yes. Does this movie make as much money as it does and reignite the superhero genre without it? Probably not. I mean, I remember as a kid seeing TV spots of that stupid upside down kiss forever. It was probably the most iconic MTV Choice Award for the best kiss. It's probably the best kiss.
Is it the most iconic movie kiss of at least the 2000s?
Yeah.
I'd say
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yes. There might be one in Twilight that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's not anything from Hunger Games.
Yeah, no, nothing else is really sticking out to me.
Poor Peter.
So Peter gets bit by the spider. And we see the introduction to Aunt May and Uncle Ben, which I've praised before. I love the set design of their house. I just love how nurturing and caring they look. It's like just fantastic casting from both. And then, Peter is going sicko mode in his room after, and big change.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Old Ben, oh damn it! I knew it was gonna happen. Uncle Ben and
Ben Kenobi
and Aunt May are both. He says he's 68 years old. And how he's looking for a computer system job or something. And it reminds me because, of course, it's happened in the movies, but it was also happening in the comics where Uncle Ben and Aunt May were always super old, which means Peter's parents, or Peter's dad, he would have been close to Uncle Ben's age, presumably.
Yeah, is it on his mom's or dad's side?
His dad's brother's Uncle Ben. Madam
Web confused me because we don't see Aunt May, but we see Uncle Ben. They was not expecting that.
I haven't thought about Madam Web since the moment I watched it on Discord like 2 years ago, and I just got so many weird flashbacks.
Do you guys like the Mark I Spider-Man costume? I love that shirt. I always wanted that shirt as a kid, that design.
I'm surprised more cosplayers don't go as the human spider costume.
Very good Halloween costume.
It's a fun, affordable, and it's like a direct point and nod to this movie specifically, which is one of the most celebrated Spider-Man movies. I love that whole wrestling scene. It's super stupid. And it kind of just appeals to the male fantasy of, like, what would you do if you had superpowers? But, like, whatever.
It's literally if Ace got superpowers.
And, I mean, honestly, it's a good set piece for him to, like, try to, like, make money. In, like, other iterations, he's, like, ripping off people who are ripping off jobs. Like, you know, he's robbing from people who are robbing to try to make money or whatever. I'm happy they don't go that route in this, because this feels more childlike and kind of silly.
Yeah.
And you get a really fun set piece.
With Macho Man Randy Savage.
Bone saw. I like all the fans with the
Bone
foam saw.
Yes.
Dude.
3 minutes of playtime.
That's what
I really enjoyed
We
it.
need foam saws.
You're right. See pro wrestling. Get your foam sauce.
It's weird because it's, of course, this movie I, watched, when I was like 3 years old. I don't really remember my life before Spider-Man. And it's technically my introduction to pro wrestling. Little did I know it'd become an art form that I love. It's interesting watching it back now as a, hardcore wrestling fan and how good it still is. Like, it's really funny. Having Randy Savage there so this is 2002. It's right after the death of WCW. Randy Savage probably had nothing to do, but still a big name. Just perfect time capsule moment in a really fun way. This movie is just screams like 2000s MTV. Like, culturally, when I see some visuals from this movie, that's what I think of. I don't exactly know why. There's also the Neil Patrick Spider-Man show that aired on MTV right after this movie that is for some reason canon, but nobody looks like each other.
Wait, that's canon?
Yeah.
To the 2000s point, the hoodie thing he wears in the Mark I costume is like airbrushed, and I always think of like state fairs and stuff. You look at that sweater, it's just airbrushed on the front, and the back is just a black spider.
Yeah, and we get to Uncle Ben's death, which you said to me off camera, Perolski, that's like your favorite scene of the movie. This is your most rewatchable scene?
There's so many memes, but to Nate's point from earlier, I think when Tobey starts crying, that ugly cry is realistic to me.
You gotta admire an actor that's not afraid to ugly cry.
And the second that music kicks in, like, I just feel like the movie starts and doesn't stop, because he runs down that damn alley, turns into a CGI Spider-Man, and it becomes awesome. With Danny Elfman's score there of those just drums and bongos of the rushing sound, and you could feel the anger. I feel the anger of Peter. He is out for revenge. It's called the revenge scene. I just think it's so cool. And something Ace and myself said earlier while watching it, Nate, was there are quite a few shots that are like doom and gloomy. I think of Tim Burton's Batman, like when he's sitting on the Chrysler building, and I go, oh, it's just this wide shot. Or after the old Ben alleged murderer falls from the building, they do that wide shot of the cops looking around the window. It's very Tim Burton-esque to me.
Yeah, even the building that he gets the intruder or the perpetrator to is very similar to like the bell tower set piece at the end of the first Tim Burton Batman movie. And I really, really like how his first day as Spider-Man, he pretty much commits like, I don't know, involuntary manslaughter or like neglect. He does not help save that guy at all. He trips and falls out the window once he disarms him, and he dies. He's canonically dead. I like that a lot. I think that's really smart. They don't do that with superheroes enough. They want to preserve their like good. But I mean, a teenage kid that is this incel-y, the moment he has power and a reason to do something, he's killing somebody. I don't know. Not everyone's Batman. Superheroes can kill people.
Superheroes can make mistakes. That helps them grow.
I wanted to also ask you this, because I know it also happens at the end of the movie, Nate, but I feel like we definitely shifted when Marvel Studios came to existence, where back in the day, superhero movies were like, well, the superhero kills the bad guy. Like, why did Batman kill Joker when he slipped off the bell tower? Like, that never really made sense to me, you know, and even as a kid.
It messed up Zack Snyder, who was like, oh, Tim Burton Batman killed people, so I'm gonna have Ben Affleck's Batman gun down goons this whole movie.
He has a freaking gun!
He turned Batman into Punisher. It was weird.
And through all of this, you know, this great origin of Spider-Man, we're also getting a really awesome villain origin. We praised Willem Dafoe before, but I love the whole transformation of the Green Goblin. This whole movie, it is on Revenge of the Sith levels of memeness, but I love it. I eat it up every time. I will never get sick of scenes like that in this movie.
Now, I wrote down here the timestamps because I know this is something myself, Nate, and Nick Alexander back in the day would always talk about, is that first 20 minutes of the film. I wrote down timestamps of, by the 11-minute marker, we've completely been introduced to both Peter and Norman and who they are, and then by 12 minutes and 45 seconds, Uncle Ben's dead. So at 15 minutes in, it's back to formula. And
wow.
By the 22-minute mark is when he gets the sticky scene against Joe Manganiello or whatever. I will never get over that pacing. We get introduced to so much, and it's so easy to me. Like, as a dumb kid, it was easy to me to know, oh, it's MJ and Peter and Harry and bad guy, right? Like that, I've always just, as a filmmaker and a fan of movies, that's always been fascinating to me, how it's so well paced.
Yeah, I love how it's intercut too, because you're seeing the origin story of Spider-Man, but you're also seeing the origin story of Green Goblin, and you're seeing their human counterparts interact and engage.
Yeah.
You meet the entire ensemble in that amount of time too. This is not something that regular superhero movie does anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think if you like side by side compare where they get to in the 16-minute mark of The Amazing Spider-Man, which is only like a decade later, literally, I think he's still just a angsty teenager like skateboarding around.
He's skateboarding? He's on the half pipe during that part, probably.
Yeah, so it's like he doesn't have like the agency is just not there in modern cinema that this movie has in the first act. Now, I will say this movie has a grinding halt of a second act. There are so many scenes where I'm like, yeah, get on with it. The set pieces are good. The action scenes are good. But yeah, there's a lot of yapping in this movie.
I remember as a kid, I would always skip to the Times Square sequence. Like, that DVD is probably burnt into that scene. It's like, it reminds me of Phantom Menace where I'm skipping to the mall fight. It's like one of those moments, and I love it. I love that it's in Times Square. I wanted to bring this up, Nate. What do you think? You're a resident New Yorker. What do you think the best era of Times Square was? Because I don't think it was this. We actually think it was around 2014 for Amazing Spider-Man. It wasn't too much. We started to understand LED screens. I think it looked a lot better in that movie compared to Times Square still looking a little rough in this movie.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think I would go a little bit earlier than Amazing Spider-Man. I think there's a great film called Enchanted that you should reference when you're thinking of the best Times Square era in time.
That's really solid.
I think that's right before you have the Duffy Square like stairs get added and take up like a lot of real estate, and it's also like it's before the era where you have a good blend of physical, tangible posters that have to be lit with like an actual light, which is like this era. And then, like, all LED screens that feel like you're in Las Vegas. And one fun fact of being a New Yorker and having a girlfriend who's into Broadway and theater, any single time I'm watching a movie and there's a shot of Times Square, we pause for 15 minutes and try to count. What shows are on Broadway when they're filming this?
Show?
You know,
Nice.
what advertisements are here? This scene, especially that bird's eye view angle, you first see Times Square as the establishing shot. One is like from the perspective of where that H&M tower is now, where they drop the ball. It's a perfect angle to try to get a good shot like that. And two, it's like a really fun one. There's ones in there that we were like I was like zooming in. I was like enhance. I felt like Deckard in Blade Runner trying to figure out what the Aida poster was for like yeah, way too long.
I never noticed the cup of ramen noodles
Cup
ad
noodles.
that's on the
Yep.
top of one of them. Now, that was the first one I noticed before. It's just a fun scene. I like watching Spider-Man jump on the balloons. It's goofy fun. It feels straight out of a comic book.
It's goofy fun, except for when all the board members get turned into fucking spooky, scary skeletons.
And
There's
he never
peril in
uses that
scene.
pumpkin again. Green Goblin could have ended this movie a lot in multiple scenes by just using that pumpkin.
And to go back to your whole good dad thing, Ace, Harry was standing right next to the board
And he didn't
members
kill him.
meeting. Alright.
He put his girlfriend in peril.
All
Yeah,
right.
but we all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't care about her anyway.
During all of this, Peter gets a job at a photographer. Well, there's some great lines about freelance in this that I didn't notice until as an adult. But we see the iconic performance of J.K. Simmons. It's one of those performances. What more can I say? People fucking love him so much that when they reintroduced the character, it had to be him again. Like, I can't picture anyone else playing this guy.
He's perfect. I watched this movie with Cameron, and she hasn't seen the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, so that was a treat. She was like, "Why is he like this weird, like over the top, like 1960s, like Mad Men guy?" And I'm like, "Cause that's exactly what you want J.
That's the
Jonah
character.
Jameson to be.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get this character more right than this depiction right here in this first movie. I mean, yeah, he's undercutting Peter the whole time. He tries to get those pictures of Spider-Man for $200. Then he gives him the flat freelancer rate of $300.
Yep.
I get a job. No jobs. Freelance. It's a good thing for a kid your age. It's like he's constantly undercutting him, but then when Gobby shows up a little bit later in the movie, he does not reveal who the hell his source is for
he
those
is not a
photos,
rat.
which he's a real one. Honestly,
Yep.
like, damn, that's a loyal employer right there.
That's a good
I'll
ass
take
journalist.
my $300 a week, sir. Thank you.
I love even before the $300 line, he goes, "I'll give you $200 for it." And then he goes, "Oh, the flat freelancer fee is $300. He was still trying to screw him out of a measly $100.
Now, John, I know you have the take that Green Goblin, trying to convince Spider-Man to join forces. You had the take that Christopher Nolan just stole this for the Joker in The Dark Knight.
After J.K. Simmons or J. Jonah Jameson doesn't give up Peter and Green Goblin kidnaps Spidey, when they're having that conversation, to me, yes, of course, Star Wars. Duh. He goes, "We can rule the galaxy," or whatever.
When he's talking about how we could either join forces or we're going to fight each other again and again and innocent people will die, that is very Dark Knight Joker. Like,
What he says, though, specifically, is he goes, "They will turn against you." Which, the whole point of the Joker and Batman scene is him saying they'll forget. No matter how much you help them, they'll turn against you.
And we unfortunately never got that. Like, I know in this movie we have the newspaper headlines and, we hear the Goblin's voice again, very funnily. But in 3, they love him. Like, they're making merch of the guy in the universe. We never had that, like, when the chips are down, are they going to go after him type of movie. Unfortunately,
Even with the symbiote, like that, it's so kind of brief in the sense of, everybody turning against symbiote Spider-Man. It's way more personal in that third film, which I'm sure we'll get to that on the third film.
Yeah, I think it's smart that they don't go that route, like, entirely. Like, obviously there's like a few interjections from the New Yorkers that maybe the temperature read on Spider-Man isn't as hot as it was when he first came on the scene. The Roosevelt Island bridge sequence alone, it chef's kiss. You get the New Yorkers helping Spider-Man, and at the end of the day, that is New York mentality. It's like people may talk shit, they might tweet about you, they might hate your ass, but like at the end of the day, hey, that's our guy. What are you doing? What do you mean trying to stop the guy who's trying to save a bunch of kids? Like,
you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
The New Yorkers that have complained about the Knicks for 20 years were crying in Midtown the other night over them. Like, that New Yorkers stick together through thin and thick.
I mean, I don't want to segue too hard, but I mean, damn, dude, Cleveland folded.
Yeah, they just
what a
gave up.
joke.
They're waiting for LeBron.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I love the Q&A type spots with the New Yorkers. I just love adding depth to the city. It makes the environment feel alive. Some of them hit, some of them don't, but I don't care. I want more of that.
Jim Norton makes a cameo in that scene, right? Is that who that is?
I think so. That's what I always give Sam Raimi is in all three of these movies is New York City is a character. Spider-Man is not just in a random city that you forget about. Like, they remind you a lot that he is a New Yorker.
It might be my favorite character in these movies. The city of New York is awesome.
The iconic scene, of course, the Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't notice this before, that they're just awkwardly, like, standing in a corner waiting for Peter to come in, and I'm like, is Peter really the Mr. Social? Is he really the glue sticking this group together? Nobody can have a conversation without the guy in the room.
Did they pay Aunt May for cooking such a wonderful Thanksgiving? Like,
well, and then everybody left.
did she have to schlep all those groceries to their, like, bougie-ass apartment herself? Like, I hope not.
Yeah. We all went to college. Imagine having Thanksgiving dinner with your parents in one of our apartments.
Okay, but this is like the Mace Manor of apartments.
That's fair.
This loft
it
is massive.
Yeah.
Also, think of the size of their family. Like, it was Harry, his girlfriend, his dad, and it was Peter and Aunt May. Like, I don't know, I'd see it working out. They all live in New York.
Norman's mansion, though, is right down the road, and he's probably got his own chef and stuff.
He doesn't want people to go to his penthouse. Come on.
I guess we don't... The weird stuff he's doing in the mirror, I guess. He doesn't want the goblin to talk during Thanksgiving dinner.
What you doing?
And that's kind of the best part of that scene, is it does end like a really shitty Thanksgiving with like the one BPD uncle like storming out and calling like his son's like girlfriend a slut, essentially. It feels really realistic. It's one of the
Pretty
most grounded
tame Thanksgiving,
scenes in the
actually.
movie.
What does he even say? He's like, just do what you need to with her, then groom her? Or like as in marry her? I think that's the line. It's insane.
No. He says, "Do what you will with her, and then broom her out. Like get rid of her.
Broom her out.
Trash. Like, yeah. Not groom her out. He's not like, make her whip the streets. He's not
Go whip her out.
Yeah, it is really weird, and going back to your point, Nate, it is a little forced. It is that everybody wants to be with MJ, including the father of Harry Osborn. Like, even at the end of the movie, talks about that he's gonna have a hell of a time with her after he kills Spider-Man. Some really interesting stuff there.
I feel so bad for Kirsten Dunst for being in these movies.
No, the comics were doing it worse, Ace,
well, that was the
because
thing.
they had
Raimi
Norman
was reading
Osborn.
those comics, yeah.
I don't know why I wrote this note, but I wrote bro ... Nate Martin, and I think it's when Peter is standing there at one point, and he's just giving that blank, the Nate stare. I don't know how else to describe it. And I was like, Peter's just standing there doing that for a solid minute in the background.
You got Aunt May praying and Goblin comes in. As somebody who grew up Catholic, effective scene as a kid. Really effective.
That scene's so wild.
Especially Aunt May is very similar to my like Catholic grandmother, so when that does happen, it was pretty freaking scary as a kid. Like, holy shit.
This scene is absolutely absurd. It's maybe my favorite scene of the whole movie. It's her kneeling down at her bed with a picture of Uncle Ben there, saying the Lord's Prayer, reverse shot, the whole wall comes crashing down, and the Green Goblin's on his hover jet, and then she's like screaming in peril, and he's like, finish it! And then she does, screams some more. Hard cut, she's in the hospital. What the hell happens in that scene? Say what you will of Doc Ock, at least he's using her as leverage and kidnapping her.
Yeah.
Like, he just did that to communicate that he knows who Spider-Man is now. It's so over the top.
Which did not work in his favor.
And it puts a poor woman who just cooked a nice Thanksgiving dinner in peril for no reason.
So, I was going to point this out, too. So, this is now in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We never see Christmas stuff throughout the city. There's no time jump after the Thanksgiving dinner, I believe. It's just very odd to have that there. Like, I get they're supposed to be, like, having an apartment, it's their freshman year of college, but it's just really interesting. And even skipping ahead to the funeral scene, it looks like it's in the fall. It's probably, like, December 10th. Like, by then, like, we really, I don't know. It was interesting, the seasons. But, you know, you don't want to think too much into it as well. Dude, I forgot to bring up my least favorite scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah, we kind of skipped right over that.
The fire and the woman screaming for a baby. I do not like this scene.
My baby! First off, she left that kid in the apartment.
She was
Bad
going to
mom.
grab some cigarettes and come back. She didn't think the whole place was going to burn down. I leave my oven on when I walk the dog sometime.
I have a theory. There's a woman next to her. Do you think they're a lesbian couple? It's like Ross's wife and partner and friends in New York City.
No shot, because if it was a lesbian couple, the other mom would be screaming too. I think that's a big conclusion to jump to. However, in the interview Q&A thing with the New Yorkers, the lady who's got the 2 dogs and is like, who knows? Could be a woman. That's a lesbian.
Yeah.
That's our queen right there.
And this movie did not need to flash it in your face like, hey, Sony Pictures' first gay character or whatever the hell. They owned that shit.
It was major vibes, like.
Going back to Aunt May in the hospital, it can't get more awkward than MJ and Peter, don't tell Harry. They're holding hands and Harry walks in with the flowers and everything. Like, it's just like, oh, this sucks.
Poor Harry.
I mean, they were like holding hands. She's visiting him in the hospital while he's grieving and his aunt's like dying over there. Actually, she's fine. She's eavesdropping on them. Like, whatever. She's a flop, dude. Aunt May should play soccer. That's what should happen. But anyway.
Also, to be fair, they're supposed to be 18, right? So I think the bad part of it was the quickly taking the hand away, and that's what made it awkward for Harry. I'm looking at a bunch of 28-year-olds, though. Like, I'm, once again, forgetting, they're supposed to be 18, 19 years old.
When they graduate, I did make the joke like, congrats, Peter, you're 30 years old now.
Also, I'm sorry to go back as well, but when they're in the apartment, I love Harry being like, what do you mean you got fired? And he goes, Dr. Connors fired me for being late. A man who we don't see appear until the next movie when he's in his college classes. I think it's so funny before he became a photographer, he was already getting fired from Connors' lab.
Imagine you get fired by your boss and then he's your professor.
And then he's your teacher.
Especially since that's Lizard. Like, that's also a villain.
Yep. The other thing that I wrote down, like, towards the end is MJ at the end does start getting, like, really bad to me. In the sense that after she's saved and at the funeral and everything, she's like, oh, well, I realized I loved you the whole time. And then he walks away from her. And I'm like, bro.
Do you guys ever think MJ is in love with Peter, though? I feel it's 100% Spider-Man.
In this franchise, yes, that's what it feels like.
Yes, I'm talking about in the Raimi verse. Yes.
Yeah, in the confines of these 3 movies, I don't think there's any chemistry between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. I think there's a whole ton of chemistry between Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
Like, when they're just at home laying in bed, what the hell are they talking about?
Do we see them at home laying in bed?
I feel like we never casually see them, like, hang out.
But MJ... This is what annoys me about that ending scene of the first movie, is after Pete denies her and walks away, there is a shot that holds on MJ's face that's her reacting. So she holds her mouth, and then she looks up and goes, and then it cuts to Peter and he starts doing his monologue. I always was like, oh, she knows now. But then once we go into the second movie, they kind of like really, I don't know.
They retcon it.
I assume, they almost retcon it kind of hard.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like the Superman Lois kiss, like just gets.
I have one note about the funeral scene. Well, actually, I guess 2 notes. One, I really appreciate that Aunt May is so friendly with the priest. They're like yapping it up there in the background. Harry looks so much like James Dean in that scene specifically.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I don't know if it's just because he's got like the sun in his eyes or something, because it's like an exterior day. But he's like, he looks just like James Dean. I'm like, damn, they really should have like capitalized on this a little harder and made him more of a bad boy or something. He's supposed to be the bad boy, but all he does is like disrespect women. He's not like cool.
Yeah, no. Especially in this movie, like we were watching a little bit of 2 before we hopped on, and like he just looks cooler in the second movie too. He's got a mullet, like he's like, Harry just looks so much better in the second movie, even though he's kind of like a paranoid freak. But to go back to the climax on the bridge, parallel to the Death of Gwen Stacy comic visually and all that fun stuff, it's weird though. This might be a hot take. I like the Times Square sequence better. I think this one is a little wonky for me.
I think it's paced strangely.
Yeah.
You brought up Batman and Robin earlier, right? I mean, I really think of the choice in like those two in both Batman Forever and in Batman and Robin. Both those movies, the hero's presented with the choice. It's a classic trope, duh. But I feel like they just shoved that kind of in there, because the scene immediately following the fight scene between Goblin and Peter, where Peter's getting wrecked, is awesome.
Yeah.
But I feel like that scene is paced like too quickly, where it's like, oh, make your choice, and then he quickly saves them, and then Goblin just yanks him over.
You know, harping back to the Dark Knight as well, trying to make them make a choice as well at the end. But yeah, it didn't feel like Spider-Man seemed confident the whole time he was going to be able to save both. Like, it didn't feel like there was one where he really felt like he was choosing either. I mean, that's a tough theme to do in the first movie as well.
Yeah, I think it's like climactic from a dramatic standpoint, and I like the like leveraging one human you care about versus like a bunch of innocent people. It's like a very like good dilemma for a superhero, and that's why I think it has been seen so many times before and after. It makes a lot of sense. It doesn't necessarily have the gravity that it thinks it does, no pun intended. I mean, physically this makes no fucking sense. I don't know how they're falling at such very different speeds. He's able to do both. But
And the
anyway.
wire.
The wire physics there are even more nonsensical, but like, I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm not going to tell you the metaphysical properties of his web or whatever. Like, this isn't Cinema Sins. I think that it works on like a dramatic level, but it doesn't have the gravity that it thinks it has, in terms of like, that scene could hit a lot harder. And like, you're right, it mimics like a very important panel in the comic book.
Yeah.
I do agree that whole thing's weird. I don't think that Spider-Man's all that confident in that. I think he's like in panic mode.
Yeah, just
and, like,
guns blazing.
You feel that when he's like hanging like in both directions, and he's like trying to get her to go down, and she won't. Like, of course she doesn't listen. Like, he's like, just go, climb down, you can do it. And then like Goblin's coming right at him. Like, he probably 9 times out of 10 doesn't survive that. Like, if it wasn't for the New Yorkers on that bridge, he's toast.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. He was wearing a Mets hat.
Dude, the extras are all dressed very cool. That black dude's in like a leather jacket and has a kufiya underneath, and you're like, this is sick. The whole squad on this bridge is looking cool.
Another thing I wanted to bring up was the lighting's great. Even at night, you could still see everything. Like, don't get that anymore. I
really like that the final showdown happens on the Roosevelt Island. There's an abandoned tuberculosis hospital that's right there, and that's where they like crash into and have that little fight. It makes sense, like, geographically speaking, where they end up. The movie's like actual attention to detail for what part of the city they're supposed to be in is surprisingly accurate for like any superhero movie. I don't think there's another one that even comes close to getting it right.
You could make an argument to put this in like the top 10 New York City movies because of how accurate it is to stuff like that. Like, you know, we said it before with the people of New York, and that it's just really faithful. And is this the part, JVH, where you want to bring up a certain scene that was probably cut?
Man, oh man, it's about time, because the original teaser trailer had, of course, the bank robbery where they trap the helicopter in between the Twin Towers. And,
it had to be in the movie, right?
Allegedly, it was going to be a part of the montage scene when they first reveal the Spider-Man suit and everything. It's very fascinating, because of course there are still glimpses, and I know that it's been a debate many a times of, should you erase the Twin Towers from the movie? even though the movie was already filmed. And something that's cool about this movie in particular is they didn't take the time to erase it, so you will still see the scenes of the Twin Towers in his lenses or behind him and everything. But of course, one of the greatest posters ever and greatest teaser trailers, they had the Twin Towers in it and decided to pull it. I don't know if I'm 100% accurate on this, but I believe they delayed the movie a few months after 9/11.
I think they did. I know that for sure. Like, what you guys are saying is correct, that like it was going to go in that opening kind of montage. It's also where they have that, like, there's a time jump there. There's all these like newspaper cuts, and then there's also the interviews with like the New Yorkers. The question and answer segment was the reshoot. I think they used that to supplement the 9/11 action sequence, and they wanted to show passage of time in a way that wasn't. He's now familiar with his powers enough to be able to stop a helicopter and a bunch of armed robbers. They showed that through the other people kind of talking about it, and I think it's smart. It's a really budget-friendly way to do a reshoot, and I believe the movie was delayed 2 months. It's really, really cool. I like that they made the choice to not like go frame by frame and delete it from the background. I think it makes it a very celebratory movie for New Yorkers, and I think it's probably the movie that the city needed after that horrible day. I mean, there's a reason why like kids' birthday parties still to this day, no matter how popular K-pop Demon Hunters is, every single kid in New York, his favorite fictional character, her favorite fictional character is Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen, like to this day. And granted, you know, the franchise has lived on and it's always going to be relevant now, but I don't think that would be the case. I don't think that this character would win over this city so much if they didn't like tastefully do that so well.
You can make an argument that Spider-Man kicked off this genre after such a traumatic event for the country at large, and we wanted escapism, we wanted heroes, and it kind of catapulted this subgenre for 2 more decades to come. Like, it really had that long-lasting power.
And of course, there's plenty of YouTube videos and everything on analyzing the post 9/11 superhero movie genre as a whole. I mean, once again, Joker is a domestic terrorist. We really started shifting the way we treated our villains in our superhero movies by treating our superheroes a little more seriously. And, you know, it'd still be a few years after this film and everything, but from where we are today, and then where we were back then, and analyzing how it is, and my biggest takeaway from the movie is you could feel the passion of Sam Raimi behind it. Of course, Nate brought up Darkman earlier, and when Nate introduced me to that movie, I fell in love with it and then saw what he meant about this Spider-Man movie. And once again, yes, we make a joke about the line, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, but it was a good rally movie. And when I was showing my Irish friend earlier that last shot of the film, where does Spider-Man land? On the American damn flag, baby! USA! USA!
Our Irish friend Owen, shout out, also asked us during the Times Square scene, like, he was like, does New York City just have these random festivals or parties that billionaires put together? And I'm like, yep. All the time.
Huge corporations, yep.
It's usually brands now. I mean, there's always like random parades going on where you'll just
like
be,
Apple
like, on
Music
Fifth
presents.
Avenue and you, like it'll be like Fifth Avenue and you can't cross the street until like 32nd Street and you're like, you mean I have to walk 20 blocks to go 1 block? That's always very unfortunate. But there's like random, like, I worked this event about a year ago now. I was supplying like Wi-Fi and antennas essentially for these stupid fucking little robots. These like little like the dog ones, like the Boston Dynamics things. They needed 2.4 gigahertz internet to like power through all the cellular congestion there to get these stupid little robot dogs to go up to people that were already selected in the crowd. Like they were being paid for the day to be in a commercial for a liquid IV ad. Like, the whole ordeal probably cost like $20 million. But it had the same hubbubaloo of what that Times Square scene has, where it's like, there's all these logistics, there's people with radios, there's like a stage performance with some random nonsense artist performing. Like, it's always like that. There's Times Square takeovers with Charlie XCX dropping a single, like, randomly in Times Square at 7 p.m. on August 18th. None of this was announced. It's all a takeover. It's a surprise. But it is like, it is a real thing. It is very much a real thing. I'm sure it was probably a lot cooler when this era existed, and it was just like Oscorp selling its like global takeover day. Hey, everybody! Like, that sounds a little cooler than like Liquid IV makes sure to hydrate a clock. Robots everywhere. It's like. It's Ultron.
Yeah. We're in the age of Ultron.
Yeah, we certainly are.
What did you guys give this on Letterboxd?
4 spiderwebs.
Oh.
Yeah, this one's a 4 for me. 4 is like the sweet spot for like super rewatchable, but like pretty flawed. And I think that this fits right there. If I grew up with this movie, I'd probably have it a little higher. But as a cynic who saw this movie for the first time at age like 14 or 15, it's closer to a 3.5 if we're being real. But I love this film.
Yeah, it's a 4.5 for me. It's right up there with Revenge of the Sith, where these are some flawed blockbusters that changed my outlook on movies, though. It's hard for me to hate. I have such a special attachment to a movie like this, and I always will. I get hit with just so many memories watching it, and it almost gets emotional sometimes, like how much I love movies like this. Yeah, creatively, this movie's a big inspiration for me. Just the world that Sam Raimi's able to adapt, I just always admired, and I still put into my content creation to this day. Not to turn it into an Ace video essay, but it is one of those movies that I really loved growing up.
I'm gonna throw a question your way, Ace. At gunpoint, you get to save one movie. In fact, no. I'm on the Queensboro Bridge. In one hand, I have Spider-Man, this movie, this specific movie. In the other hand, I have the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Which one are you saving?
Wow. That's really hard. My childhood room was Spider-Man themed. I gotta go with Spider-Man. I don't remember my life without the movie. I think it was my mom who gave me the DVD to Spider-Man, so I remember a little bit there. The movie would end, and I would let the credits play, and I would either be playing with my Spider-Man action figure, making scenes, or I would put on my costume, as our lovely guest has right now. Like, it really is a more connection. Pirates of the Caribbean also has that, and my next room was themed Pirates of the Caribbean. When I see this movie, though, I think of those early years of, like, just discovering things, and this movie taught me a lot about humanity, heroes, villains. Like, also, a really good movie as a kid. Nothing too crazy in this movie when it comes to the violence. It's a lot of like Indiana Jones punches when it comes to the audio as well. I think this is pretty serviceable to show a kid.
I do not want to have to explain what's going on in the alleyway with with Mary Jane to my 4-year-old. I mean, I get why my parents didn't let me grow up with this movie. I do think like around age like 9 or 10 is probably where I should have been introduced to this movie properly.
That's fair.
As opposed to me having to find it on a streaming service after the stupid Andrew Garfield one came out.
Yeah. Kind of forgot about that alley scene, huh? When we were watching it, Mary Jane walked out and I went, "Oh, I know that shirt."
My favorite fact about that scene is that Tobey Maguire was getting waterboarded because the mask in the water, when she folds it over his nose, he can't breathe.
Wow. He did a great job selling that kiss, though, even though he was about to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we have criticized a bit of the casting. I do want to go into a tad. Is there anybody in that time frame that you would recast for Mary Jane, Spider-Man, dare I say Green Goblin, but I don't think so. But anything comes to mind? Of course, Leo's right there. He almost was Spider-Man.
He also would have looked too old at this point.
Yeah.
At least Tobey Maguire's like a boyish kind of like old 30-year-old
He's got that
playing a high schooler.
round face, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we had Leonardo DiCaprio like mogging his way through this, that'd be wild. Maybe if this came out in like 97. Or 96 even.
This is kind of sad to think about, but if River Phoenix lived, could have been a good Spider-Man as well.
Again, yeah, he would have been a little old.
A little on the older side, but that's what they were going for. So I am thinking of these actors in their late 20s. Could you do Joaquin, who was younger at the time?
This character's already incel-coded enough. We don't need Joaquin Phoenix Spider-Man.
I feel like he'd be a pretty good nerd, especially young Joaquin.
I feel like the audition for Tobey Maguire to play Peter Parker in this universe was just Sam Raimi went and saw the movie Pleasantville. Like, it was like, oh yeah, that guy's enough of like a Rick Moranis type that he could work as Spider-Man in this universe.
Was there any notable names who auditioned for this? Let me do some half-ass research.
I know Topher Grace did, and I think Elijah Wood did as well. I think I probably would have pulled from TV, getting a TV actor to do this movie instead of someone who had already done movies might have been like an interesting way to cast this.
Jude Law, Heath Ledger, and Ewan McGregor. Freddie Prinze Jr. was also on the studio's radar, it says.
I was going to say MJ, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, we do see her as a blonde. That same year, that same summer. God, 2000s were fucking awesome. There's like 2 movies I'm excited for this year. Chris O'Donnell was considered, which I think would have been a wild career choice right after Batman and Robin.
To Spider-Man.
That's kind of crazy.
He would be like stuck like typecasting himself for life. Like the only thing he could do is like 25 years later be on some cop procedural show. Oh wait.
Oh, I thought you.
which Tobey was, typecasted for a while. He was, really didn't take off much after, and he had his.
He became Boss Baby.
Underground gambling stuff. Leo got him in The Great Gatsby. I'm sure that was a good paycheck. But yeah, the career of Leo's really weird. I feel like Kristen Dunst is having like a renaissance right now for her career. All of a sudden, she's in some really good stuff. And Willem Dafoe has always been consistently the GOAT. He didn't even need this.
No.
He did No Way Home for the love of the game. Yeah, that's an interesting list. I mean, out of all of those, though, I think Tobey was still the best choice for long-term wise. Like, you could have done 6 movies with Tobey, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't, but they could have.
Yeah, if you wanted to go into, like, adult Spider-Man like the video game did.
Yeah, I think that where they chose to do the origin story, like, canonically within Peter Parker's life, like, it's already a little later into his journey. Like, he's like a sophomore in high school when he's bit. He's not even near the end of high school. I think that it would have been smart to just make it happen when he's already in college, because then I can look past the fact that everyone looks 12 years too old. Just a little bit. That buys you, like, 3 years. But, I mean, yeah, I don't think that there was anybody else really at the time that was on people's radar that probably would have done a better job, especially with like the tone of this movie and like the script, because like he's left there to be just like a nerd with a frog in his throat the first like hour and a half of the movie anytime he's talking to Mary Jane. If you put somebody else in that role, it's not going to be believable that he's like, I don't know, just nerding out too hard. Like, you put Freddie Prinze Jr. there's no way he's not like putting his arm up and like all up in MJ's face.
Freddie's Harry.
Yeah, or even worse, he's Flash. Like,
yeah. What a time, now looking at the list, what a time it was for actors too. We really did have a good group there. Like, a lot of them were looking for a role like that, and you could make an argument that all of those guys I just listed off had a better career after Spider-Man, though.
It should have been Jason Schwartzman. That's who it should have been. Hot off of Rushmore. Yeah. No more Wes Anderson joints. You're Peter Parker now. I would have bought that. That would have worked for me.
Thwip.
But, yeah, I think that was a really good review, guys. We went through the whole movie. I feel like we did really well.
We stayed focused. We stayed alive.
We did. We really did. I feel like I covered everything I wanted to cover. Any lasting thoughts? Any controversial last thoughts you didn't get out?
I can't wait to see MJ in the next one.
No, I don't have anything controversial to say that I haven't already said.
Yeah. Awesome.
First time ever in my life.
Yeah. Well, thank you, JVH, for joining us, our first guest on the show, and it won't be your last. You will also be covering Spider-Man 2 and 3 with us as our next 2 episodes, as well as we get through Spider-Man Summer here on the Face the Ace channel. This has been At the Movies with Ace and Martin, and I don't have an outro.
That's fine. Just pose in front of this American flag real quick. We can just end it there.